Hey, deep divers, welcome back. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to drop a comment below, because today we're going to be unpacking some pretty crazy election drama.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking Trump, we're talking secret plans, and we're talking about a potential constitutional earthquake, the contingent election. Buckle up, because things are about to get interesting.
It certainly has everyone on edge, these cryptic comments that Trump made about a little secret with House Speaker Mike Johnson.
Right.
They're sending shockwaves
With a Mike Johnson's.
through the entire political landscape.
Okay, so walk us through this. What is a contingent election, and why is everyone freaking out?
All right, so picture this. It's election night, the votes are in.
Okay.
And neither Trump nor his opponent has clinched those 270 electoral votes needed to win.
Right.
That's where the contingent election kicks in. It's like the Constitution's tiebreaker.
Oh.
A plan B when things get messy.
So no clear winner, we go to, like, overtime.
Exactly. And in this overtime, the decision goes to the House of Representatives.
Okay. And in the House, each state delegation gets a single vote. That's right, one vote per state, regardless of how many people live there. So California, with its 52 representatives, gets the same say as Wyoming with just one.
Wait, hold on. That doesn't seem very fair, does it?
It's definitely a point of contention, and that's what makes this whole situation so explosive, right? Because right now, Republicans control more state delegations in the House.
Right.
That means, theoretically, even if Trump loses the popular vote in the Electoral College, he could still end up president.
Okay, that's ringing some alarm bells for me. It's giving me serious 2020 vibes, you know?
Yeah?
All that talk about election denial and legal challenges. I mean, some people are saying that this secret plan is straight out of the 2020 playbook.
The parallels are certainly striking.
Yeah.
You know, remember back in 2020, there was a plan floating around among some Trump allies to sow enough chaos and doubt about the election results in key states that they could try to push the decision to the House. Exactly. And with the Republicans controlling more state delegations, that could have worked in their favor. So are we talking about a potential repeat here? Is this Trump's backup plan if he can't win the election outright?
It's a theory that's gaining a lot of traction.
Yeah.
And historian Heather Cox Richardson has even pointed out how closely the current situation mirrors the lead-up to the 2020 election. She even suggests that this secret could be Trump's insurance policy, especially given how his campaign seems to be struggling.
So if we're connecting the dots here, it's starting to look like this might be less about a secret plan and more about a potential power play.
Yeah.
A way to bypass the will of the people and potentially manipulate the system to stay in power.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is this about sowing discord and undermining faith in the electoral process?
Right.
Or is it a calculated strategy to just circumvent the Electoral College altogether? Either way, it raises some serious questions about the future of American democracy.
And let's not forget, Speaker Johnson, while being suspiciously quiet about the secret itself, has been super confident about a Trump victory. That just adds another layer of intrigue to this whole situation, right?
Absolutely. It's like he's feeding the flames without revealing the source of the fire.
Okay, so we've got a potential contingent election looming, whispers of a secret plan, and a whole lot of unanswered questions. This is some serious political intrigue, and I'm not sure my blood pressure can take it.
Well, before you reach for the blood pressure meds, let's dig a little deeper.
Okay.
We need to understand the potential consequences of all of this.
Right.
What happens if the election actually does get contested?
Yeah.
What are the legal and political ramifications? That's where things get really interesting.
All right, deep divers. We're about to get into the nitty-gritty of this whole contingent election mess.
Oh, yeah.
Stick with us, because things are about to get real.
So you're feeling the heat already.
Oh, yeah.
And we're just getting started. Imagine the political inferno if this election actually lands in a contested situation.
Okay, you're scaring me now. Paint me a picture. What does a full-blown contested election look like?
Think legal battles, recounts, accusations of fraud just flying from both sides.
Oh, wow.
Basically, a political and legal hurricane.
Nice.
And the fallout, it wouldn't be confined to the courts and the halls of Congress.
Right.
Public trust in the electoral process, which is already hanging by a thread, could completely unravel.
And that's terrifying, because at the end of the day, democracy depends on people believing their votes actually matter. Right.
Exactly. If enough people just lose faith in the system, it becomes incredibly vulnerable to manipulation and, frankly, authoritarianism.
Okay, so we're talking legal chaos, social unrest, a potential erosion of democratic norms. Is there anything else we should be worried about? Because this is already sounding like a political horror movie.
Let's not forget the potential for violence. I mean, we've already seen how quickly this heated political rhetoric can spill over into real-world aggression.
Oh, yeah.
A contested election could easily throw gasoline on that fire.
Okay, you're not making me feel any better here. This is starting to feel like a dystopian nightmare.
It's a sobering reality, but one we need to confront head-on.
Right.
This isn't just about who occupies the Oval Office for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
It's about the future of American democracy itself.
Okay, deep breaths, everyone. So if we're teetering on the edge of this potential constitutional crisis, what can we do to prevent this from spiraling completely out of control?
Well, first and foremost, we need to demand transparency.
Okay.
Trump and Johnson need to come clean about this so-called secret plan. Like, what are they cooking up?
Yeah, what's the end game here?
We need answers, and we need them now. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, right?
Right. Sunlight is the best disinfectant.
Exactly. We also need to be prepared to push back against any attempts to undermine the legitimacy of the election results.
Okay.
That means calling out disinformation, holding our elected officials accountable, making sure our voices are heard.
So basically being informed and engaged citizens. Easy, right?
Well, it's not always easy, but it is absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
This is a pivotal moment. We can't afford to be complacent.
Okay, so stay vigilant, demand accountability, make sure our voices are heard. Got it. But what about the legal side of things? Are there any safeguards in place to prevent a repeat of 2020?
Well, there have been some efforts to reform the Electoral Count Act, which, by the way, governs how Congress certifies the presidential election results.
Right.
The idea is to make it much harder for lawmakers to overturn the will of the voters based on unfounded claims of fraud or irregularities.
So like closing the loopholes that were exploited in 2020?
Precisely. But these reforms are still in their early stages.
Oh.
And there's no guarantee they'll be enough to prevent a crisis if we face another contested election.
This all sounds pretty ominous. What does this mean for the future of U.S. elections and the democratic process as a whole?
That's the existential question looming over all of this, isn't it? This election feels like a stress test for American democracy. If we can navigate these treacherous waters without capsizing the ship of state, it'll be a testament to the resilience of our institutions and the strength of our commitment to democratic principles.
And if we fail?
Well, let's just say that's not a scenario I want to contemplate.
I think we've given our listeners plenty to contemplate already.
Yeah.
This is heavy stuff, but these are conversations we need to be having. We need to stay informed and engaged, especially as we head toward this potentially pivotal election.
I completely agree. We need to be prepared for all possible outcomes.
All right, deep divers, we're going to take a quick breather, but when we come back, we'll wrap things up with some final thoughts and leave you with a question to ponder as we head toward this election.
Okay.
Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below letting us know your thoughts on this secret plan and what it all means for the future of U.S. election. We'll be right back. Welcome back, deep divers. We've been exploring some pretty heavy territory here. You know, secret plans, contingent elections, and the potential for a full-blown constitutional crisis.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up this deep dive, let's try to distill all this down to some key takeaways.
I think the biggest takeaway is that this 2024 election has the potential to be even more consequential than 2020.
Right.
The stakes are incredibly high, and the possibility of a contested outcome is very, very real.
And that possibility is directly tied to this secret plan that Trump keeps dangling like a political carrot.
Absolutely.
Right.
Until we know what he and Speaker Johnson are actually planning,
Yeah.
we're all left in the dark speculating about the potential impact on the election.
Right.
It's this massive cloud of uncertainty hanging over the entire process.
And it's a cloud that's been deliberately created, which adds another layer of concern. Right?
Yeah, exactly. This isn't just some off-the-cuff remark or a campaign gaffe.
Right.
This seems like a calculated strategy.
Yeah.
To sow doubt and create this whole narrative of a rigged election before a single vote has even been cast.
Which, as we've discussed, could have devastating consequences for public trust in the democratic process.
It undermines the foundation of
Yeah.
a free and fair election.
So where does that leave us? What should our listeners be thinking about as we move forward toward November?
I think the question we all need to be asking ourselves is this. What does all this mean for the future of U.S. elections and the democratic process as a whole? I mean, are we entering an era where every close election is going to be contested,
Right.
where the outcome is determined more by like legal maneuvering and political power plays than by the will of the voters.
That's a chilling thought.
It is, and it's a question that each of us needs to consider as we head into this election. Like, what are we willing to accept?
Right.
What are we willing to fight for?
Right.
The answers to those questions will determine the course of our democracy.
Powerful words to end on. We've covered a lot of ground today, deep divers, and I know it's a lot to process. But it's essential that we have these conversations. Stay informed and engage in the democratic process. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below, letting us know your thoughts on this secret plan and what it all means for the future of U.S. elections.
Yeah.
Until next time, stay curious and stay engaged.